Well, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you all for coming out this evening on a little chilly January night, but your presence here is very important, and we look forward to getting a lot of input from you at this very important public meeting. So I was going to basically go over the agenda for tonight's meeting, and tonight we're going to be providing a little overview of our department, the purpose of the meeting, kind of describe the Consolidated Plan process, which is a 5-year plan that we're currently undertaking. We're going to talk a little bit about our outcomes and what we achieved this past year. We're going to talk very importantly about the request for proposal process. And this year we did something a little different. We usually have packets that folks take with them, and we're trying to be very conscious of paper. So what we've done is put all of the applications in Word format on compact discs. So everyone could take a compact disc. Joe's going to go over that process a little bit in a few moments of how to access it online, but we have the applications available online, but we also have these nice compact discs for everyone. And then lastly, we're going to open it up for public comment. So again, my name is Patrick Sullivan. I'm the director. I'm joined here by Joseph Meyer, who's the Community Development Coordinator, and Joe's going to kick off the meeting and describe a little bit about why we're here, and then I'm going to come back in the middle and describe a little bit about the programs and how to access the funding. All right, so thank you. Joe?
Thank you, Pat. So the purpose of tonight's meeting is really about the Consolidated Plan, a 5-year plan that starts in 2015 and ends in 2019, and also the 1-year action plan, which is our FY15 plan. So our department is mainly funded by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. We receive 3 primary sources of funding: the CDBG program, Community Development Block Grant, the Home Program, and the Emergency Solutions Program. So we are located at 608 Pleasant Street. That's directly across the street from the library and upstairs from the museum. Please pay us a visit if you have any questions about any of our program services. So really, the purpose of tonight's meeting is to try to gain your input and understand what are your priority needs for us to really write this plan. This is the plan. Really, the genesis comes from you. It's a homegrown plan. It's a grassroots plan, and we need to understand what your thoughts and your priorities are in order for us, in turn, to develop this. The plan is really, it comes from the citizens of New Bedford, all the stakeholders, all the for-profit, the non-profit folks, and from there we can kind of really gauge what your needs are. And then we can articulate those needs in the 5-year plan and in the 1-year action plan. The thing that you need to understand about the Community Development Block Grant, the Home Program, and the ESG program are that these funds mainly are geared towards folks at a low to moderate income or at 80% or below the median income. That's incredibly important because these folks are the most needy, and they desperately need these services and these programs. So why do we consult? We consult to try to understand the folks. We try to understand what your needs are, and we try to really dig in. And you know, we have surveys out that are in 3 different languages. We try to break that barrier, it either being a language barrier, a physical disability, or whatever it may be. We really try to get down deep and understand what your desires are, because we could understand it from just basically a survey, but we use other methods. We have focus groups, such as a focus group for youth, the housing, folks in the housing industry, economic development, senior citizens, just a variety cross-section of the community. And from there, we're able to take these ideas and translate them into a nice organized plan. The four points of the Consolidated Plan are Consolidated Plan, your priority needs assessment, the annual action plan, which we'll get to in a moment, and public participation process. The public participation process is the core part of this plan, and I can't stress that enough. So the consolidated plan is considered a master plan. It guides our actions for the next 5 years. The Department of Housing and Urban Development requires that we put together this plan in order to receive funding for those 3 programs that I've mentioned. Without putting this plan out and producing an action plan, we will never receive those funds. The 5-year plan runs from 2015 to 2019, and 2015 marks the first year of our action plan process. So for the next 4 years, we're going to produce another 4 plans. The major goals, these come directly from HUD. This is literally the backbone of the CDBG, the home and ESG programs, to provide safe, decent, and affordable housing, to provide suitable living environments, and to expand economic opportunities. I just want to highlight the first 2. HUD was in the CDBG program was really based on housing and housing development and rehab of housing. Back in about 40 years ago, we just had our 40th anniversary for the CDBG program. That was the main core tenet of these programs, along with economic development. And once again, principally to benefit low to moderate income folks at 80% or below the median income. We use a variety of methods to try to gain your input. One being the census. Another method we've done is our own survey, our residential survey, our focus groups. I've gone to now 5 neighborhood associations. So we've really tried to get down and try to understand what those core needs and values are of the community. These are the priority needs assessments: housing, public facility and infrastructure, community service, economic development, housing facilities and services. Later on in the presentation, Patrick's going to go further and discuss these 5 points and provide wonderful examples of what we've done in the past year or in past years. So the Consolidated Plan really started about a year ago, back in July. It takes a lot of preparation to produce a plan such as this. The first part is really just trying to, understand what HUD's new requirements are going to be, and then from there, we can start laying down the framework. Firstly, the needs assessment survey. Hopefully you have taken this needs assessment survey. If you have not, please do so. I'll give you a link later on in the presentation. This survey has been out since the end of October, and it's going to go all the way until January 30th. We've actually extended it 15 days. The cutoff was going to be the 15th. Next, community meetings and consultations. Like I've mentioned, we've had a variety of focus groups, neighborhood associations, and so on. From there, we look at our past investments that we've done and potential future investments within the community. And these investments for a variety of things: infrastructure improvements, we look at the public services, economic development type activities. So we try to map those all out and try to understand what we've done in the past and where we're going to go in the future with this. Finally, from the first 3 points, we're able to finally identify your priorities and your needs and articulate those in a plan. And today, which is a very special day, is where we're going to be releasing our request for proposals for the ESG and the CDBG program. And those proposals are due on February 13th. And from there, we're able to now understand what are those needs, and we are able to allocate resources to those particular programs and services. All programs start on July 1st, and they run up until June 30th of the following year. And then this is also a very important thing: evaluating performance. So when we produce our one-year action plan, we're saying to all you folks, hey, this is what we're going to be doing. But in September, now we have to see how did we measure against those goals and objectives. We produce what's called the CAPER. The CAPER basically tries to articulate, have we met those goals for that one-year action plan, and have we overall met the goals of our 5-year plan? So we're constantly just measuring and seeing what our performance is. This is just a beautiful illustration of the consolidated plan process. We determine needs, set priorities, identify resources, establish goals, administer the programs, and evaluate. It's like the circle of life. I've mentioned the action plan. This action plan is the first of our 5-year process. This action plan is going to run from July 1st to June 30th, and it's going to and in this action plan we're going to identify specific programs and objectives for FY15. This is just a breakdown of our funding from last year. We expect, hopefully, our funding will be the same or level. However, I'll discuss it a little further after this. In FY14, we received $2.5 million in the Community Development Block Grant, $216,000 in the Emergency Solutions Grant, and with the Home Program, $750,000. This is approximately $4 million worth of federal funds from the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Now with this graph, you can see that from 2010 to 2014, our funding has gone down. We've really stretched those dollars. The need has gone up, but we've tried to maintain our programs and services. But the reality is that we've been receiving less and less funds since 2010. And this is just a breakdown of our community process. We did have our first session of the 5-year plan input session in December 19th at the library. This is the second forum, and we will also be having another one tomorrow at the Office of Housing and Community Development. We've had our neighborhood meetings, our focus groups. We've put print advertisement in 3 different newspapers in 3 different languages. We have a residential survey, public access, of course. We try to make sure that those folks at home are watching this and they understand our process. Facebook, we've put hundreds of flyers throughout the community, email notices, and very important, we're going to be having a technical workshop this Friday at the Office of Housing and Community Development at 9 a.m. The first technical workshop is going to be about the CDBG program, and it's going to really delve deeply in what the CDBG program is, the requirements, and how to actually fill out the RFP. So it's very important for you folks to know. And then the 10 o'clock session is going to be about the ESG program. Same thing. We're going to be really delving into the program, telling you the ins and outs of that program and how to complete those RFPs. And then finally, please, we encourage you to all go to the SurveyMonkey and fill out a survey. And if you have not done so, this is the link. This actual PowerPoint is going to be available online, and the surveys are on the Office of Housing and Community Development website. So next we're going to be talking about the Community Development Program, the Emergency Solutions Program, and the Home Investment Program.
Thank you very much, Joe. I just wanted to get my bearings here. Okay, I'm just going to briefly go over the 3 block grant programs that we have: the Community Development Block Grant Program, the Home Investment Partnership Program, and the Emergency Solutions Grant Program. Describe those for you briefly. Community Development is really the grandfather of the 3 programs. It's been here, as Joe mentioned, 1974. We've been proud recipients since its inception. Significant dollars have gone into helping the community, neighborhood revitalization, housing, economic development, public services. And really, the genesis for the program is to help people who are low and moderate income. These are some of the activities that are ineligible. There's a lot of things that are eligible about this program. It's very diverse. It's a grassroots program. It's unique because here in New Bedford it's administered much differently than another community because we structure the program based on input from you and what our needs are here in New Bedford. So this is just a listing of some of the ineligible activities. Some of them are pretty obvious. What is eligible? Infrastructure improvements, public facilities, public services, park improvements, housing and rehab, and economic development. So those are the core functions of the program. There are a number of subcategories under there, but the best way to describe the CDBG program is when unfortunately there's been disasters in this country, there's a mechanism. What's the mechanism to help a community rebuild itself? Like Katrina, for example. They used this community development block grant program to filter all those federal dollars in because it helped rebuild the streets, rebuild the housing, create jobs. So that's a great example of really this building a community from the ground up, and that's what this program's done since its inception. The second program is the Emergency Solutions Grant Program, and that's a program targeted to homeless prevention, homeless services. So we have a variety of needs in the city, and this program meets those needs for street outreach, homeless prevention, rapid rehousing, which is a kind of a new model that HUD has introduced a few years back, where we're concentrating on getting folks housed first. So don't have them go through this cycle of shelter, transitional housing, permanent housing. The goal is to get them housed first and then provide those services. And the last category is a database that tracks all of our homeless folks through a shared database that everyone can kind of contribute to. And the last of the three is the Home Investment Partnership Program. This program was started in 1990. Again, we've received funding since that time in the city that can do basically everything that constitutes housing. So it's geared to affordable housing. We can use it for new construction, acquisition, rehabilitation, first-time home buyers. So the difference with this program is that we in the office administer ongoing year-round access to these funds. So the other two, the Community Development Block Grant and the Emergency Solution Grant, are part of this request for proposal process. The home program is more unique in that we have individual programs for investors, first-time home buyers, and owner-occupants to access those funds. Similarly, on the housing side, with Community Development Block Grant funds, we have funding to provide services to the community on an ongoing basis. So we have staff that administers and provides support to folks that are looking for housing and housing rehabilitation activities. Kind of describe this also. There's a category called the CHOTO, which is a nonprofit designation by HUD that receives funding, and they actually have a set aside within the program that we have to provide money to them. And we have 2 active CHOTOs in the city right now that we work with. So I'm just going to kind of go through what we've done this past year and then describe the RFP process fairly quickly so that we can get to any comments that you have. But this year we've had a robust year in providing services. Just over 12,000 folks have benefited from a little over $2.4 million in CDBG funding. We saw 17,000 folks benefit from our public service activities, and 28 housing units were improved, deleted, and rehabbed with CDBG dollars. Interestingly, over 8,500 of the beneficiaries were very low income, meaning that their incomes were below 50% of median. Under the public services category, and that's a category where we have funded over 31 agencies with public service dollars, just over $443,000 last year. CDBG funds went for that. And these were a number of different programs ranging from youth programs, arts, counseling, financial management. So you can really see that almost 32,000 units of service with over 12,000 households, individuals served under this particular program. This was just during the past year. And we always love to show photos of different activities that we funded over the years. Recreational programs for youth, community gardening programs that actually heavily involved with the youth. We have some fantastic programs for our seniors. Shelter programs for families. So there's a daycare component of a program that we have funded in the past that provides daycare to folks, mothers that are getting employment opportunities where they've been formerly homeless. Economic development, big area that we fund. And the Bedford Economic Development Council is a nonprofit in the city that does the bulk of activity in terms of creating jobs, retaining jobs, promoting the community overall. So that's a big program. They have a tremendous loan pool where they have assisted businesses with startups, continuing on in their efforts. We also have a small storefront reimbursement grant program that we fund through our office that provides small grants to businesses to improve their storefronts, create some signage. These are some public improvements that we've done this past year. We had a pretty interactive, we do a lot of street and sidewalk improvements. This year we really, Mayor Mitchell really wanted to beautify different aspects of neighborhoods, and we went on a very robust tree planting program as well as replacing inefficient lighting. So it's really created a nice little buzz in the community. We had a nice mural project on a former vacant building up in Cushion Avenue that was really a tremendous project. If you saw, I wish I had a before picture here, it really transformed the blank space, and we created a small community garden on a site that had a derelict building that we demolished. So there's some great activities there. This is a little description of our emergency shelter grant operations in the city. We have several shelters that serve women and children and men. These are some pictures for those. Unfortunately, there were 1,600 folks that needed those services during this past year, so we can see that need has not gone away. Another program that I'll touch upon, I didn't describe it as a block grant program because it's a competitive program. This is a homeless program that we apply for each year. We have a very robust continuum of care in New Bedford where we have about 70 agencies that meet monthly in our office. And we probably get 50 to 60 folks that come monthly, and we talk about services, and it's called a Continuum of Care. And we've been successful in getting about just under $2 million each year to fund primarily scattered site housing, which is kind of like a rental assistance program for folks that are previously homeless. And this is just a little description of some of our in-house programs that I had mentioned, the housing programs. Neighborhood First, our first-time homebuyer program. We provided 8 families with down payment and closing cost assistance this past year. Rehabbed about 12 units of housing. We have a nice handicap accessibility grant program that provides folks that need access into their homes. It can be modifications to bathrooms or ramps. And lastly, lead paint abatement program. We identify the need to abate homes that have lead paint that show a health and safety risk to the community. There's a couple of great pictures. Actually, this house, the first house on the left, is just down the street here. If you go out the door, you look to the right, it's right on the corner. It was a former vacant property that we renovated with a nonprofit. Both of these were done. We had 6 of those that we did last year that were former foreclosures and vacant that we've renovated down below. There was one that we did with another nonprofit, and actually it was a little different. It was in a pretty stable neighborhood. It was the worst property on that particular street, and it made such a tremendous difference. And the one on the right is one that we recently completed as well. Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't following along with my, so these are the ones I just described, sorry. So, Joe mentioned the RFP. We have it, we have some compact disc CDs up there that have the Word version. You can access it by going on the city's website. It's a fillable Word document, so we've protected the field, so all you can do is just type things in. The technical assistance workshop, just to reiterate again, that will be on Friday at our office of Housing and Community Development at 608 Pleasant Street. That's not the only technical assistance that we provide. So that's a formal process where we'll go through the applications and work with folks, but technical assistance is during the entire application period. So if anyone has any questions, they want assistance to say, gee, I have an idea for a project. How do I fill this out? How do I ensure that it's eligible? So we'll do one-on-ones all during that time. And this is just the packet again. So we're really pushing this technical assistance workshop here. I think Joe had mentioned these earlier, the public meetings that we've had. Actually, I think it went back to the beginning, didn't it? No? You described this, I think. Oh, actually, this is the whole timeline. I apologize. So we had a similar slide that showed the development, and this shows really where we are in the process from going through our applications. So Friday, February 13th is the deadline for the applications. That's a firm deadline. We'll then review all those applications, make recommendations, and have final decisions on funding. That's then sent to the City Council. The City Council reviews that and approves that plan. So that's an entire plan. So this year it'll not only be the funding, but also our priorities for the next 5 years. So it's very important, very comprehensive view of what we're doing. And then that's sent to HUD, and HUD will review it and ultimately approve the plan, and then we can start spending money July 1 on all these programs. So this is, an opportunity for folks to express where they feel that some needs are in the community. We had, at the beginning of the table when everyone walked in, we had a handout that basically broke down the different categories that you see up here on this particular slide that we feel that are needs in the community that can be funded through community development dollars. And we asked folks to rank those from 1 to 4. We had a meeting back in December, and we got a lot of great information from that. So to the extent that you could kind of rank where you think the priorities are in the community under each of those categories, be very helpful. And I'll just show a few of the slides of each of those subcategories that during the handout. So this is a public services. So this is not every public service. It just gives an example of some of the major areas that we have seen over the past few years that have exhibited a tremendous need. Economic development. Again, there's a lot of activities that we could fund through economic development. Which do you all feel that would be the priority? So you can kind of see as we go through these that there are a number of things that we can fund. So it's very important for us to find out what you all feel the priorities are in the community with these. So we asked like the top 4. Housing is another very important category. Public facilities. So those are a lot of the buildings and facilities within the city that are either owned by the city, operated by nonprofits or other organizations that really help the folks that we're targeting these funds to. And then public infrastructure. Again, a good percentage of CDBG dollars over the years have gone into public infrastructure, and a great example, there probably isn't many parks or playgrounds or other recreational areas in the city that you could not point to community development dollars have refurbished them over the years. So we've been able to touch a lot of neighborhoods that have really helped a lot of folks in the community. So I know I went through that fairly quickly, but I wanted you all to have an opportunity to speak instead of having us up here talking to you all. So we're going to open this up for any public comments. I think for the purposes of Cable Access, who once again has been tremendous in covering our meetings and being supportive and giving an opportunity for folks that aren't able to be here tonight to see and experience what we're discussing and how to access the funding and how to participate in the program and our needs. So if anyone would like to come up, we'd encourage you. I just ask that you come up to the podium, and if you have a particular program that you administer that you want to advocate for, if there's a particular need in the community that you feel is not being addressed, if you just have some general comments about where you think the priorities are and where you'd like to see some of these dollars spent, we'd welcome that from you at any time. So do we have any victims that would like to come up? Helena, come up, please. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Helena Da Silva Hughes. I'm the Executive Director of the Immigrants Assistance Center in New Bedford. We're located at 58 Crapo Street in the south end of New Bedford. Our office is located in the heart of the immigrant community, and we use community development block grant funding to provide social services to the non-English speaking population of the city of New Bedford. Our clients are either speak Portuguese, Cape Verdean Creole, are Spanish. All our staff are bilingual and bicultural, so it's very important that not only do we understand the language, but we also understand the culture. We provide direct services, which means when they come in, many times if they lost their job or if they're having financial difficulty, we help them navigate through resources and help them connect to benefits that will serve their basic needs. Anything from filling out applications for food stamps, connecting through PACE for fuel assistance. If they're facing homeless, we work very closely with Catholic Social Services, PACE. And it's just basically we are the voice of the immigrant population, and we have a pretty large population that is immigrant population in our community who is very diverse. So what we're going to be applying for again this year is to make sure that this vulnerable population, when they're facing difficulties and have language and cultural barriers, that we're able to help them navigate through resources and provide the support they find the financial need that they need to ease their financial hardship. So the Immigrants Assistance Center will be applying for funding again this year to provide direct services to this vulnerable immigrant population of the city of New Bedford. And thank you so much for all your past support, and we look forward to continuing working with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Helena. Appreciate that. Would anyone else like to? Sir, come on up.
Hi, my name is Brian Pastori. I'm from the Community Economic Development Center, and we've been working a lot with the Office of Housing and Community Development and CDBG money. We kind of have three different things we work on. One is we help small businesses, mostly in the North End, and last year we helped over 50 small businesses either get started with starting a business, technical assistance, or helping with tax problems and tax issues. So we continue to look forward to getting support from CDBG to help us facilitate this program around small business assistance. We also have been working a lot with the office to engage the North End community in our Great Neighborhoods initiative. And you guys saw the mural they put up earlier. That was one of our projects we helped complete thanks to a CityWorks grant. And we hope to do more exciting projects, specifically in the North End, to help engage the community and beautify that part of the city. And finally, we're working to get more affordable housing in the North End, better housing stocks, and we hope that the city will step up and try to take a look at that area to do some redevelopment because it's really needed up there. So thanks for your support. Hopefully we'll have some future support, and thank you for the time.
Thanks, Brian. You made a comment about the mural and the CityWorks program, and that's something that I didn't mention. That's another kind of an in-house program that we run, and that process starts in March. And those are nice little small mini grants that we give to the community to create projects such as a mural or some community gardening, really just kind of promoting nice incentive projects, and we've concentrated those throughout the city in different neighborhoods. So thanks for reminding me for that, Brian. Would anyone else like to say anything? Yes, come on up.
Hello, my name is Laura Dill. I'm a resident in New Bedford. I live on the North End. I actually really appreciate that mural. I love it. I come from the unique perspective of I have had to use many of the programs that are made available in New Bedford. I am a single mom. I had to use PACE to help with my utilities for a few years. I had to use the PACE child care assistance. There are many of the programs that I had to use. I am grateful that I currently no longer need them. But I would like to be more involved in Pay It Forward. And I feel that homelessness is a very big problem. I have personally been involved with many homeless people, and all their needs are different. I am going to research and try and discover how I can help fill in the gaps for the current needs that are not yet being met. There's also something I brought up that I'd like to bring up. The child care assistance that is currently given is awesome. It helped me find a job. But there is a need that is not being filled, and that is that many people who are undereducated or in need, basically, we can find jobs, but then we cannot find childcare because I can get a night job like that, waitressing, but there's nobody who can watch my kids at night. And so it is very difficult as a single parent to find childcare. I don't know if it's possible or legal or whatever, but what would be awesome would be if the welfare organizations that give you help to get on your feet, if they also had like a 24-hour childcare facility or something, so that you can drop your kids off, sign them off, whatever, with someone trustworthy and go work your night shift and come back and get them, because there are many night jobs that you're not eligible for. So when people say, why don't you get a job? They're not understanding that I would love to have a job, but all the 9-to-5 ones have been taken by people who have got all this education, and it's harder. Although I was involved in the Wise Woman program that got me the job that I have now, I'm very grateful. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, greatly appreciate those comments, and that's the type of information that really helps us to find out what the needs are in the community. And Joe had mentioned that, you know, part of this process has been a lot of information gathering. So we've had small focus groups with, you know, 10, 15 to 20 folks to talk about different needs in the community, and comments like that are, you know, fantastic. So thank you so much. Appreciate
Can I
it.
say that, but when I was in need, I would never have had the time to come to one of these meetings to say what I need is childcare, because I would have had my kids.
Right.
It's very difficult. Okay, sorry.
No, it's all right. That's what we're here for. Anyone else? Sure, come on up.
My name is Tiant Pina. I represent ASAP. It's an all-scholastic athletic program I'm president of. I also am a representative of the New Bedford Hoops group. What we provided for the last 8 to 15 years with both programs is an academic athletic-based program, health and wellness for youth, elementary school through high school. And us trying to get involved with the CDBG family is trying to provide more of an academic base and a health and wellness flavor to the community, especially to the low-income families where the kids who are undereducated and very malnourished in a sense, not getting the nutrients that they need. And some of these families that aren't English-speaking families don't have or the knowledge to provide those certain things. So we want to provide certain things, as well as, you know, as far as the academic base, working with the Parks and Rec, with the athletic program. So my goal is to try to gain some funding to be able to go out into those communities with the information, with the pamphlets, with the different languages, so we can speak and go out and canvass and let the public know what is really there. As well as, you know, what I love to do is to provide basketball and football programs and things of that nature. And I think by tying in the two with academics and athletics, we'll be able to outreach to a lot more of the families. So I just wanted to let people know about the ASAP program, as well as the Bedford Hoops group, which is run by Derek Baptiste and myself. And we look forward to being a part of the family.
Thanks so much, appreciate that. Anyone else? Well, I think that concludes our public comments, and I really greatly appreciate your attendance here tonight, and certainly your input. It was great so many folks came up and said some words that really help us shape the program. As Joe had mentioned, we have another meeting tomorrow evening at our offices at 608 Pleasant Street at 6 o'clock, same time. And we'll, as I mentioned, the RFPs for the Community Development Block Grant and the Emergency Solution Grant Program are both available after today on the city's website, as well as having some of the CDs that we mentioned. So thank you again. I can't thank you enough for taking time on a cold January evening to share your thoughts with us, and we'll all wish the New England Patriots good luck and fortune this coming Sunday. So thanks again. I really appreciate it.
Real men know that getting tested is the way to take care of their families. That's why real men wear gowns. For a list of the tests you need, go to ahrq.gov.